Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Brigatti. How's everybody doing? Today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2020. That's a lot of 20s, 20, 20, 20. Anyways, I'm here to do a little video with you for math. Remember, we're working on fractions, and this will be the exit ticket for lesson 8. So we're going to do the same thing we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. We are going to Mrs. Bryce will move that camera over so you can see what we're doing. And while I'm doing that, grab a piece of paper and a pencil, or if you have a copy of this exit ticket, you can work on that with me or after. Okay, so hold tight. Let's get this set up and you go get what you need. Okay. All right, there we go. I start off with a scrap paper and then there's my exit ticket. All right. So this week, guys, the lesson is asking you still to learn your fractions because it's important to know your fractions for 3rd grade. But what they're asking you to do is you guys have to represent or show like parts of a whole thing, like one whole pizza or one whole cake as fractions. But today we have to do it with number bonds. So if you remember, a number bond might look like this. Hope you can see that okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Remember, like in 1st and 2nd grade, say the top here was 10 and right here was 4. Your job was to figure out what number went there, right? So this would be like 4 plus what equals 10, or it would be 10 minus 4 equals blank. Remember that? And then, I don't know, like in September, October, we started doing it with multiplication. So let's just say like this number was 24. That was our total product. And say we use the lines to represent the number of groups. So there's 4 groups. What would the size of the group be? So this is the number of groups. So this would be division. I'm doing it division. 24 divided by 4 equals blank. Because we know our total is 24. We know we have 4 groups. So what's the size of the group? Or it could be, I know I have 4 groups times what equals 24. And then we would have to figure out the size of the group and what goes in there. All right, now that was with adding and some multiplication and division and subtraction, but now it's with number bonds. So it's going to kind of look like this. We're going to pretend that this circle is one whole pizza, okay, one whole pizza. And we're going to still break apart this pizza. Let's say we break it apart into 4 equal pieces. So we're going to go ahead and decompose or break apart this pizza into 4 equal parts. It's kind of the same thing we've been doing, like this, right? That's broken into 4 equal parts, and so is this, but this is our number bond. And that's what we have to do today. So instead of drawing my lines inside of the circle to make 4 equal parts, I'm going to show this using a number bond. So if Mrs. Brigatti has one whole pizza, we break it into 4 different slices, pieces, parts, however you want to say it. What fraction of the pizza would each person get? So it's just like up here. If we have 1, 2, 3, 4 total pieces, that's our denominator. And if you eat this piece, that's 1/4, or our unit fraction is 1/4. It's the same thing here. We have this whole thing broken up into fourths. So our denominator is 4, just like we did up here. And then this would be 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4, and breaking into those unit fractions. All right, let's get started. I don't want to spend too much. Just a quick review for you because I know that number bonds can be a little tricky. All right, here's our exit ticket. I hope you have this in front of you, and if not, just grab a piece of paper and pencil. Okay, so of course we're going to write our name and today's date. All right. Number 1 says, draw a number bond. So the first thing I have to do is draw a number bond that shows the shaded and the unshaded parts in this shape below. Okay, so number 1, I'm making a number bond. Then, so this must be number 2, show each part decomposed. That's a big word, which means break apart. So we have to break this apart, the number bond apart, into unit fractions. Oh, there, I remember when I see unit fractions, I know I have a numerator of a 1. Okay, it always is a 1 in the numerator. All right, so let's start here first with drawing a number bond, right? All right. So as I said in the paper before, our number bond is always going to start off with 1 whole. So that big circle is the number 1. Let's pretend that's 1 whole pizza. Our job is to draw it to match this shape with shaded and unshaded parts. So the shaded and unshaded parts are telling me how many lines I need to draw from my number bond. So this line is going to represent the shaded, I'm going to write S here, and this line is going to represent the unshaded parts. Okay, so let me just say this again. We have 1 whole thing. So this represents this. These two are 1 whole. This is 1 whole. This is 1 whole. And now we're going to look at this shape and decide how many of these parts are shaded, and we're going to represent that here as a fraction in the number bond. And how many parts are unshaded and represent that fraction here also. So how many shaded parts do we have? We have 2. But do we write 2 here? No, because we have to write it as a fraction. So 2 out of how many total parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our denominator is 5. So the shaded parts of this whole thing is 2 out of 5, or 2/5. Now let's look at the unshaded. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. Do we just write 3 here? No, that's a number. We need to represent it as a fraction. So it's 3 out of 5. It's still 5. The denominator has not changed. There's still 5 pieces here, or 5 parts. So the first thing we did was draw a number bond that shows the shaded and unshaded parts in the shape below. Okay, we did that. That's done. But now here's the hard part. We have to show each part, this part and this part, the shaded part and the unshaded part, broken apart or decomposed into unit fractions. So now let's pretend, think of this like, okay, wait a minute. Now I have 2/5, say 2/5 of a pizza, 2/5 of a cake. Say I have that. How can I give, because it's a unit fraction, 1/5 to each of my friends? Like how many 1/5s, or 1 out of 5 pieces would I have? So if this right here says 2, the numerator is 2, that's telling me that there are 2 parts. And I know that if I have 2/5 and I have to break this into unit fractions, 1/5 plus 1/5 is 2/5. So if I have 2/5, I say I have these 2 parts of the cake and I give, a friend this piece and I get this piece, I broke this down to 1/5 for my friend and 1/5 for me. Okay, let's do the same here for the unshaded. There are 3 unshaded, 3 out of 5. So it has 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. The numerator tells me how many lines to draw from my number bond. I'm breaking this 3/5 up into unit fractions, okay, into each piece. How much would each piece represent? The denominator is still 5. So we have 1/5 plus another 5th plus another 5th. Are these all unit fractions? Did we follow the directions? And let's see, 1/5 plus another 5th is 2/5 plus another 5th is 3/5. And that's what we have here. So that seems to make sense. All right, let's move on. That was hard. All right, Number 2, can you guys see this? Oh, I forgot to blow this up a little bit. I'm sorry. Oops, that's way too blown up. Whoa. All right, let me see if I can move this around a little bit. Let's see if I can get a touch bigger. Okay. Complete the number bond. So here's a number bond. Draw a shape that has shaded and unshaded parts that match the completed number bond. All right, so we can do this. Here is one whole pizza. And it looks like this piece is either going to represent the shaded or the unshaded parts. So I'm just going to call it shaded. I'm going to put S here for shaded. So I'm thinking of a whole pizza or a whole cake, and I can see on that 2 out of the 7 pieces that are there are shaded. Well, then this line has to represent the unshaded parts, kind of like what we did up here, right? So if I have 2 shaded out of 7, how many would be unshaded? Let's look up here. I see 2 shaded and 3 unshaded. I know 2 plus 3 is 5, and so I get 5 out of 5, so I got the whole thing there. So, well, I know the denominator doesn't change. That's still 7. So 2 plus how many more will get me to the 7 total pieces? Right? Is that right? 5, isn't 2 plus 5, 7? And remember, we're kind of adding this, like 2 plus 5 would be 7, and our denominator still stays the same. And I know that if it's 7 out of 7, if my numerator and denominator are the same, that equals 1 whole. And isn't that what we have up here in our number bond? We have 1 whole. All right, so I completed the number bond. So we have 2 7s and we have 5 7s. Now we have to draw a shape that shows the shaded and unshaded parts that match this number bond. All right, well, we can do this. So let's start out, let's just use an easy shape. Okay, let's just try like, let's do a rectangle. That's pretty easy. You could probably try to do a circle, but circles would be hard here, guys, if you picked a circle for your shape because you're dealing with 7ths, and it's really hard to make a circle have 7 equal pieces. It can be done, but it's difficult. Triangles also probably can be done, but very tricky. I would just stick to a rectangle because it's really simple, all right? All right, so we're going to take this number bond and turn it into a shape that is shaded and unshaded. So how many total pieces are we going to have here in our rectangle? Well, let's check our denominator. We have 7 total pieces, equal parts. So I'm going to draw 6 lines. And I'm going to check them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure I have 7 equal parts. I do. And it says that we have to draw a shape that has shaded and unshaded. So how many are shaded? 2 of them. Should I just come over here and quickly draw 2? No, I'm going to label this because I'm a good math student. So I know that each piece or part of this whole thing is a 7th, 1/7. 1 out of 7, 1 out of 7, each piece. It's a unit fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and shade, because you're S here for shade, 2 out of the 7. So I'm going to just lightly kind of take my pencil or pen and shade 2 of them. And then how many did we say were unshaded? Right? We said 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 unshaded. All right, so did we do it? Let's check our work. Did we complete the number bond? Yes. Did we draw a shape that has shaded and unshaded parts that match this number bond? Yeah. This here represents 2 7ths, and this piece here represents 5 7ths. Do they match? That's what we have to do. They match. Yes, they do. So boys and girls, this lesson this week is really what we've been doing. We've been taking lots of shapes, squares and circles and rectangles, and focusing on the shaded and unshaded. But now we've just added changing this basically to show it, represent it in a number bond. All right. So do your best, okay? I hope you enjoy this video and I hope it helps you. Good luck, try your best, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Thanks. Bye.